Welcome to Crazy Gamer Models. I am the Crazy Gamer and I do models. It is time for another Feedback Friday where I take your questions and ideas from the channel and discuss them with you. But that's not all. I will also have some cool stuff to show you too. Leave me a comment for topics on the next week's Feedback Friday. So let's get started here. So we got, some people already in the stream. Look at that. Waiting to start. How's everybody doing today? I'm doing a new camera system, not a camera, but a new way of viewing my comments and the feed of the camera so I can see what you guys see and not have some issues. There we go. And like I said, you can see there I got Crazy Gamer Models and my email address at Crazy Gamer Models, and I also have a Facebook page, Crazy Gamer Models, all one word. Hey John, how's it going? Just realized how small this monitor is for comments. Alright, it is Feedback Friday, and what are we going to talk about on Feedback Friday? Well, if you watched anything from my channel from yesterday, you saw that I talked about, or I did videos on a bunch of upgrade stuff for the North Carolina, and I have it all in this box here. We have guns and sheets of photo etch and all kinds of good stuff, and we're going to go through that. And I did individual reviews and let you look at everything that comes in each individual thing. Now I'm going to talk about what I like about each kit and what I'm probably going to use. But let's start with the book here. So we have our North Carolina battleship in 1/350th scale by Trumpeter. It is kit number 05303. Now I have compiled some interesting stuff on the battleship. And we are going to be talking about its history and some cool paranormal stuff that came on there. And next week is going to be the start of Spooky Ship Thursday, where we're going to be working on the North Carolina, and I got all kinds of notes here. Just some quick highlights of what we're going to be talking about. There was 10 people who died on the North Carolina. It was struck by a torpedo. We're going to talk more about that and where the torpedo hit and how we're going to make our more repaired version of the North Carolina look like it still had the torpedo damage patched up. We're going to talk about a man who went to sick bay with a fever, and he ended up dying. And they could have saved him if they had some penicillin. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some people that gave up their life jackets to save their friends, and they didn't make it. We're going to talk about the torpedo that hit, where the North Carolina was built to withstand 800-pound bombs, and the bomb that hit it was 891 pounds. So, some people had to be sealed in to the turret, or the barbette of the turret after the torpedo hit, and some people had died there. We're going to talk about where that is on the ship when we get there. An interesting thing on the spooky ship, and my wife did all this research, and she said some of the best activity they got was when they played Glenn Miller. So, that's pretty cool. I thought that was pretty neat. We'll talk about that. The most active spot was the sick bay. You figure a lot of sick people go in there. Let's see what else do I have. I highlighted some quick notes. Okay. And let's talk about where the people died. So 5 people died in turret 2 below sick bay. One was killed in a barbette by friendly fire. A guy died in the shower because when the torpedo come in, they weren't on general quarters and they were able to shower and things like that. The guy was washed away, and then on the deck was washed away, and one died of sepsis, and then another one had washed away. So we'll go into details on that stuff. So I do have an interesting fact about how well built the North Carolina was. When it was, before it was hit, it had a draft of 32 feet 6 inches. It forward and aft, it had about 34 feet 8 inches. After it was hit, after the damage and the counter flooded to take away the 5-degree list, it only sunk 2 feet. Forward with the 34 feet instead of 32 feet, and aft with the 33 feet instead of 34 feet. So it came up a foot in the back and 2 feet down in the front. So, for taking a torpedo, ripping a 22-foot hole in the side of, the side of the ship, it managed to make it to port, get a little bit patched up, and then make it all the way back to Pearl Harbor. And, it got hit in the Solomon Islands. Hey, JD Rose, how's it going? So that's basically what we're going to talk about throughout the build. We're going to do a lot of history with the build as I get to different sections of the ship. We're going to talk about those sections of the ship, and then we're going to get into doing some cool stuff with the hull. Because I'm actually going to get the hull out and show you guys a couple things. And I don't think this box is going to fit on here. I'm not going to get the lid off. So, alright, so let's just take a look at this hull here. We don't need the water line. As you can see, I have not started this kit. I will start this kit on the channel, so we're going to go through it all step by step. A lot of the repetitive stuff I'll do off camera. But if you look at this hull, and I hope it comes across on the camera, there is not a lot of detail. No, there's no plating. There's no plating on it or anything like that. And there's no detail on this hull. And John, I know you mentioned doing some tin canning on it, but the fact that there's no detail on it, it's just, I want to try to do something to do some kind of detail on it. And I'm not sure what I want to do, but around this area here is where the torpedo hit. So the bottom looks like cherry wood. Yeah, I think they do that coloring so you know where the water line is, but it would get painted this color, a hull red, US hull red, which would be this color. I don't know if I would like it that shiny, but yeah, it'll get painted the same color, just a little duller coat, like a matte coat. So the torpedo damage was in this area, and you see the torpedo defense system and this bulge right here. It was multi-layers. So I'm thinking if I put a plate system across this right there, it'll look like it was repaired by the torpedo. I don't know how that's going to stand out. With the rest of the lack of detail on this hull. So I might do some super teeny tiny scribing of some plating on here, or look into that tin canning effect. So what do you got there, John? Do you have any extra PE that you can cut into shape and create your own repairs? I thought about that, and you can get sheets of PE that are unetched, and you can get it in the thickness of the Tom's Model Work PE. Let's go ahead and jump to the PE, because that's a great question, and I was honestly thinking about this. Let's look at some of this PE here, and I'll tell you what I'm talking about. I'm going to get out my calipers, and I want to show you something interesting with especially this 1/350th PE. So there's a lot of PE, guys, so we're going to get through all this and talk about it all. If I take out the railing sheet from this Tom Model Works here, which is the railings, and if I measure that, that is 0.13 millimeters thick. You can actually get photo etched sheets that are unetched that thick. And then if you look at, this is going to get into what I want to talk about with the photo etch, but if you look at this Edard photo etch, here, let's take a look at this. Hopefully I can get it out of the bag again. Let's take a look at their railing sheet. That's not it. The railing sheet tends to be thinner than the other sheets. This sheet is about 1.14, so it's a smidge thicker than the Tom's Model Works. This feels, the Edard feels a little more rigid than the Tom's Model Works. So, that's why most likely I'll use the railing from Tom's Model Works, because it is thinner and it's going to be a little bit more realistic. But you can get brass photo etch sheet in the various thicknesses. Now, if you look at, say, this photo etch from Alliance Model Works here, this is probably going to be a little bit thicker. See, this is 0.24, so this is almost a quarter of a millimeter thick. So, 0.1 millimeter thicker. So, like I said, you can get photo etch in different thicknesses. If you get it thin enough, I was thinking about using a sheet of that to repair make the repair look on the hull of the North Carolina. But in cases like that, that's going to stand out around there being no other detail on the hull itself. So I'm thinking of trying to come up with a pattern of like the hull plating, and I think I have a picture. Let's see if I have a picture of what the actual hull looks like. Yeah, these are going to be hard to see. Yeah, it's going to be very hard to see here, but I'm going to try it anyways. Take the glare. If you look in here, right along this area, there are little squares where the plating was welded together. It's super hard to see. It's the same there like that. Basically, it's almost like a layer of paint thick. So I could find a way to mask thin lines like string, sticky string or something. Like you take some thread and you spray it with spray adhesive, and you lay it out on the hull in your X pattern, and then you spray a couple layers of paint down, and then when you peel off the string, the sticky string, you're going to have a slightly raised section that is square. That would be like a panel, and then you would have where the string would be like almost where the weld would be. So that's an option. That is an option. See, you can see it actually, it's a little bit better to see on this right here. You can see the plating on this white part here a little bit better, hopefully. So there's there's just a little bit of plating. You can look up the pictures online. Zoom back out. So, but that's what I'm looking for some kind of texture, and I'm going to either use what I said with the string method or come up with a way to just make little raised sections or scribe little lines with a tiny scriber from like RB Productions or something like that. I don't have to worry about it 100% in the beginning because I don't plan on starting with the lower hull because the lower hull is going to need some work, I've discovered. So I'm going to start with building some of these gun turrets and start with, some of this repetitive stuff, with the resin and the gun barrels and, these 20 millimeter guns. Start with some of that stuff. But back onto the photo etch here. Let us get the instructions for the Edard set. Hopefully. There we go. I was organized, I swear. Okay, like I said, Edard comes with instructions that fold out, but they're not full size. And if you have some A4 paper, you can print them in full size, and it's greater detail to go through. And let's talk about some differences in the Edard kit compared to the Tom's Model Works set, and in part Alliance Model Works. When it comes to instructions and quality of the instructions, it's a tie, I think, between Edard and Tom's Model Works. It's Edard is better depictions and better details of what to remove and where they go and how they look, but it doesn't tell you what the part is. That's one of the downsides with Edard. It doesn't let you know what the part is. Whereas the Tom's Model Works actually tells you what all these parts are, where they're going to go, and it does go into the detail on how to build them. But like I said, it explains what each part is, and that's good to have, because when you're checking your references, because a lot of where this photo etch goes, these instructions say, check your references, check your references. So if you don't have a good reference book, you're not going to be able to find out where these pieces go, because there's really not a lot of, in the instructions and digging through all the papers, there's really not a lot of stuff there. Love Minis, what's going on? You made it. Yay. So, like right here in the very beginning of Tom's Model Works, it says check references for placement of the superstructure rails. And the one thing about railings that Edard gets better than Tom Model Works is all Edard's railings are pre-cut, and it tells you exactly where they go. So if you look right here, it's telling you you're going to cut 76 or 75. You're going to bend it, and you're going to, glue it on there. So it's going to get a piece along the top and there and glued down. And it's basically all the blue is the photo etch. This pink is parts to be removed. Black is your original parts. And then green is if you have to fill something. And it tells you, if you have to, grind it, remove it, drill it. Okay. And Edard instructions are good. And I am a huge fan of Edard photo etch. One of the big things is being able to print off these instructions like this, and the fact that they tell you what to remove and how to do it. And I've worked with them. I worked with their photo etch, and it is pretty good. Another good company that does an incredible job with their upgrade kits is Mark I Design. They're out of Korea, and if you know somebody that lives in South Korea, you can have them ship it to you and buy it there, and it's way cheaper. It's like a third of the price. Because, like, say you wanted to do the Arizona, you're looking at almost $500 for the Mark I Design kit, and you can buy it over there for like $70 or $80 and ship it for less than $30. So you save a fifth of the price you're getting the kit. Protos, they make good kits. I'm going to be looking at something of theirs in the future on this. Now, one thing I didn't go for on this kit was a wooden deck, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But comparing these photo etch, again, the Edard kit comes with a little bit more photo etch pieces, and it also comes with the 20 millimeter guns, the same as these Orlorcon 20 millimeter AA guns. It comes with these guns, but I think the Alliance Model Works are slightly better quality, and when you fold them up, the gun barrels actually look like gun barrels, whereas the Edard gun barrels look flat still. They still look a little flat. Yeah, you're gonna get the photos kit for your. Yeah, I'm looking at a photos kit for a project that I don't want to spoil yet. That is North Carolina related. So I've been working on something in the works here. So that's going to be something that I talk about. That's going to be North Carolina related. That is going to be also the Pronos related too. And I also hear they make some of the best wood decking for ships that is on the market. That's what I hear. I've never used their wood decking, and like I said, I'm not going to use it on the North Carolina, and we'll talk about that in a minute. As for gun upgrades, I think your best option, other than the kit guns and the Edard 20 millimeters, would be the Alliance Model Works for realism. Resin just tends to have a lot more detail. It's nice with the 5-inch 38 calibers. They have the turned brass barrels, so they're going to look real nice. Paint might have a little bit of an issue, and then the 40 millimeters has the resin guns. And I did notice opening a couple of my resin packs, some of the guns were a little warped and bent, but hopefully a little bit of warm water and I can straighten those back out. It won't be an issue. I do have, I believe, 2 extra guns. So that would be 4 extra barrel units. So if 1 or 2 are out of alignment, I just won't use them, and I'll use the straighter ones. Now, as for instructions, the Alliance Model Works instructions are the worst out of the whole group. I tried to go on their website. I sent them an email asking them if I could get a better printout of the instructions for their kits, and I never got a response. So I even have a guy I know that works at Alliance Model Works. I emailed him, and he didn't respond about he responds about everything, but he didn't respond about me wanting better instructions. So, and it's not like I want more detailed instructions. I want to print a set of instructions that's on the same size paper as my book, so I can keep it all together. And that's basically what I want to do. I want to keep the whole thing together. So it's going to be a little jumping back and forth, but I'm going to build the gun mounts, at least the 40s, the 20s, and the 5s as I go through, because it's going to be a lot of repetition and things like that. So I'm going to do a little bit here and there, and so there's not 10 videos on building guns. That's going to be super boring. Wonder if those resin guns can be used for cars and Gaslands. I've seen that Gaslands. The guns are 1/350th scale, so I would think you would need something a little bit bigger. I think Gaslands is 15 millimeter, 28 millimeter. I'm not sure. Time to Play Detective model kit has ghost stories. Next. No, my next is not the Hornet. I don't want to talk about the Hornet. I'm going to talk about the Hornet. I wasn't going to talk about it. Listen, the Hornet is the one that did the Doolittle raid with the flying the bombers off of the deck of an aircraft carrier. And if I'm going to build an aircraft carrier, I'm going to build that one with those planes on its deck. Unfortunately, the kits that are available are not the kits for the Doolittle raid, and there is one upgrade kit for the Hornet. It's for the 1-200 that is the right layout for that model of Hornet, but it doesn't have the changes they made for the bombers to be on the deck, and I haven't found an option for that. And 1/200 scale, this is my build area. You're looking at basically all of it, and this 1/350th is not all the way on the camera, and it's basically almost my whole work mat. A 1/200 would be over my work mat and over my build area, and that is not something that I would be interested in getting into right now. So I'll stick with 1/350. So I have been tempted on the Hornet a couple times. But if you can't get the bombers on the deck, then I don't think that it's worth it. I mean, at that point, you might as well build like a Yorktown or a Enterprise, or just to build a standard Essex class aircraft carrier is just you just build one, then just get one. But I would build a specific one with the bombers. And another thing, getting the bombers in 1/350th scale, they're individually sold, and you need, I think, 20 of them. So, and they're all kits in themselves, so that's not... I have honestly thought about it. So, but there is something in the works, and I'm not going to spoil it today, because it's going to be a couple weeks before I work out all the details and make sure it's going to be a thing for sure. So, that's, now, like I said, I'm probably going to use the railings from the Tom Model Works because of the thinness of them. I like how thin they are, and I think they'll work better than the Edard. Even though the Edard, I'm going to use the Edard as a template to cut them to the right length, basically. So, and in some places where I think they'll be appropriate, I'll use the Edard. So I will be going back and forth. Looking at the build instructions and looking at the quality of the photo etch, I honestly think the radar dishes, like here's an example. Here's one of the dishes being built in the Edard kit. And then this is the one for Tom's Model Works right here. And it appears, looking at the pieces and looking at this, that the Tom's Model Works has a little bit more detail in it. But that could mean it's harder to build, and gluing it up to make it look good could have some issues. So I'm going to look into that and see which mount looks better. Especially this antenna right here, this antenna system here is the same as this system here. And you can tell that this is a lot more details on it. This is just a couple pieces, and this actually looks like pieces with holes in it like it's supposed to. So this one looks like it's going to have a little bit more detail and quality in it, whereas the Edard is going to be simpler to build. So, and Alliance Model Works, once you piece through their limited instructions, they're pretty easy to build, and most of the stuff is repetition, and you have a couple extra, pieces, like with the 5-inch guns, I think there's like 2 extra, and the 40 millimeters, I think there's 2 extra, and I think there's like 5 or 6 extra with the 20 millimeter guns. And if so, I could actually mix in some of the Edard ones to make them look a little bit different. So that is the photo etch, guys. So I'm going to very carefully put some of this away. I know you're probably not going to enjoy that, but I'll do it anyways, because I don't want my photo etch bent up. You have to be very careful with photo etch. I recommend on all of this photo etch, bending it with a photo etch bender. I mean, not every single piece needs to be bent with a photo etch bender, but I highly recommend a photo etch bender. And from the looks of some of these pieces, they're gonna be pretty long, so possibly a couple different sizes of photo etch benders. I mean, you technically, if you're just doing like this North Carolina, you could get away with the long photo etch bender from Trumpeter's Master Tools. I don't think the medium is going to cut it, even though it does have the grab bars. And I recommend, if you only get one photo etch bender, I always recommend the medium. But for some of these longer pieces, like the crane pieces, and like this piece, this 242 piece right here, that it's got a long bend. You could possibly do it on the medium, but it would be just easier on the longer one if it fits, because we all remember the last live stream where it didn't fit. So, like I said, just basic instructions. You take your pick on which one you like better. Like I said, the Tom's Model Works came with my model, so I don't want to waste it, so I'm still going to use some of it. Might mix up the ladders, look like some been repaired, look different, things like that. This is more of the railing. And they each have different parts for the planes. So the planes are going to be all photo etchy. So it's going to be pretty cool. And then again, I can't stress this enough. This Super Drawings USS North Carolina here is a fantastic book for reference book. I mean, I printed some stuff, but this is pretty cool. I was surprised they don't have any U.S. aircraft carrier in this book. They have the Japanese aircraft carrier, the Kega, but they don't have the any of the U.S. aircraft carriers. It looks like this isn't all the books they have, though. They may have more books than this, because I recently got a book that is not in the back of this book for the upcoming project. So it's not in here. So we could see that book may have some stuff in it too. So, recommend the book. It's, Super Drawings in 3D. They have, if you're building ships, it's fantastic. I don't know if they have them for anything else. Like I said, I wish they had them in everything. Okay, let's see here. Claims to be from the Doolittle raid. I don't know. What Hornet kit are you talking about that comes with 2 bombers? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know which kit you're talking about. Is it the Trumpeter kit? Because it's the upgrade kits that don't have. Oh, the link was not. Okay, the link did pop up. Okay. But was it Trumpeter? Because, yeah, it's the upgrade kits for it that don't have. It's the upgrade kits that I found, like the Pronos one and the Mark 1 design, that don't have the stuff. They're all for the 1-200. So I really couldn't find anything in 1-350 that was priced in a way that make it worth it. So, okay, now I promised you I would talk about the wood decking and why I didn't go with the wood decking. It's weird, because if you posted a link It should have said, hey, someone posted this, do you want to share it? And it didn't give you that option. That is weird. Normally it tells me, hey, this person tried to post a link. Do you want that to go ahead? And it didn't give me that option. Hopefully I am going to start using a streaming software for my live stream so I can pull up links and show them on the screen and talk about them, and we can do all kinds of interactive stuff with pictures and I don't know, stuff like other people do. So I got the software today and I messed around with it a little bit, got frustrated, and now I'm doing this. So let's talk about the wood decking. Let me find my decking here. Okay, let's talk about the wood decking and why I think it's going to be a problem. If you look here, let's zoom you in. Okay, let's see here. Let's get some more light on it. Alright. If you look right here, this whole section is your anchor chain. And that anchor chain would have to come off in order to put the wood decking on. A lot of this detail would have to come off, all this right here. All this detail would have to come off, and you'd have to replace that anchor chain. Chain that small is hard to work with on top of that, and it's just a big hassle. And for the extra hours involved in putting a wood deck onto a structure, the wood decking pattern on this is not bad. If I paint this a light wood color and then use a wash to stain it, it's gonna pop, and I don't think it's gonna look bad at all. And on top of that, I'm not the greatest painter in the world, so I don't think it's gonna matter how it looks if I use the wood decking pattern that is on here. I mean, if I was like an immaculate painter and this decking would stand out like a sore thumb against some excellent painting, then I would consider spending the extra time and effort and money on a wood decking. But with the quality of paint that I'm capable of, I mean, I'm getting better. I think I'm just going to work with the wood decking that I have on the ship. Because I don't want to, I mean, this is thin, and then having to scrape off these anchor lines and then reworking all this is just, it's more than I would want to deal with. So that's the reason I'm not going with the wood decking. I think it would be time not worth the result, basically, is what I'm saying. You know, some people, some people want to do the wood decking. I'm not saying don't get the wood decking. I'm saying I don't think it would be worth it for me to get the wood decking just for the look of the wood decking. It would be much easier to paint the wood in. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's got wood texture, and it actually, the planks are so thin, I'm thinking it's not going to be an issue. And then if I go over some planks and make them darker, or some different colors, or change my washes, change the tone of my washes, and wash it randomly, I think it would give a good effect. And that's one of the things that I'm going to do on Feedback Friday, is I want to talk about making wood look like wood with base color, and then using different washes to simulate different tones of wood. Like a blue tone, or making a warmer or brown tone, or a light tone, and things like that. So that's going to be a future episode of Feedback Friday. I'll pre it up with on Spooky Ship Thursday with part of the North Carolina build, and then I will move it into the feedback section in a live stream on the Friday afterwards at after that one airs. So this will not be built live. This will be built in pre-recorded video chunks and posted. But like I said, Feedback Friday, I'm going to try to keep these live streams going, and we can talk about, other builds that have happened, because I'm going to start airbrushing again soon, and the Yag Tiger is going to get a lot more work put on it. So that's going to come out tomorrow. On Tiger Tank Saturday is the King Tiger tracks. They were complex and a lot of work, so I got them built. They're ready to be installed after the wheels go on. So I go through the whole 27 minutes, I think the video is, about building the tracks and how they go together and things like that. And Sunday, on Panther Tank Sunday, is the final video in that series on you're building your first Panther tank with a full interior. So, and with some photo etch. So that's going to be that. And then the following Sunday, we're going to get back to the ones on painting, the Panther on painting. We're going to get a lot of work done on that and start getting back on the stuff that needs paint and is going to get painting, because I need to start airbrushing again, and it's been a mess, and all kinds of issues and things like that. So, and then also, there's next week's video is going to be on incorporating all that photo etch into the instructions. I haven't fully come up with a method of doing it yet, how I want to mark it in the book. I honestly thought about pulling the staples out of this book and scanning all the pages, and then scanning all the photo etch pages, and then overlaying the photo etch onto the instructions through in like Publisher or something, and then printing it back out and doing it that way. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but it's a possibility of what may happen. Speaking of spooky ships, I just saw a video of a ghost on the Yorktown. Yeah, I've seen, when looking for the stuff on the North Carolina, my wife, she's come across a lot of spooky ships. So, I'm sure the Yorktown has some spirit activity on it. I wouldn't doubt it. North Carolina's got its fair share. It's got a little bit here and there. Some disembodied voices. There was a cool thing where someone was sitting on a mattress, or it was a mattress and something sat down and it depressed, but nobody was there. I'll read it exactly how it was written, but that was a pretty cool story. I'll touch on that. So that was pretty cool. Someone said, like, well, there was an investigator there, and they were talking, and someone said the investigator's name. So that was pretty neat. And I already mentioned the activity from when they played the big band music, and they really seemed to like the Glenn Miller. So we'll talk about all that. So basically, it's starting with the haul, and we will do some of the haul, but immediately I'm seeing tons of photo etch has to go in the very beginning. These are all the photo etch guns right here, all these H1s and things like that. So I'm hoping next week's video will be me having deciphered where everything goes and having organized this. So it may be light on other videos for the week, maybe stuff that I've already had done, because this is probably going to take me a couple of days to work out and get filmed and stuff. So that's going to be next week's schedule. Like I said, this week, and then building techniques, I'm getting caught up on everything I taped on that. On the quality of my videos, guys, I've noticed that the quality hasn't been the same quality that I've recorded in, and my editing software kind of messed with it. So I think I solved that problem, and the video that's going to go up Tuesday will be the first one with that problem solved. So hopefully I won't have that issue anymore. So this seems like a fun build, and So, oh, also, I'm going to talk about the Tech Marine that I built. He is done. Right here. There he is. I'll get him out. Boom. There he is. Tech Marine. Boom. Oh, that's why you really can't see him on that. Put him on that. So he's done. And a few of you asked me if I was going to paint him. And I've thought about it. I'm not a huge fan of painting minis, but I think, you know, all the work I put into him, I think he deserves a coat of paint. But I like to paint minis in multiples instead of just doing one. I like to do like 1 or 2 or 3. So I have another kit bash in mind that is going to happen. I'm not going to say what it is because I want next week's video on Wednesday, Kit Bash Wednesday. I'm going to show you the sprues that I'm going to be pulling the pieces from, and I'm going to see if you guys can guess what I'm going to be building. It will be Blood Angels related, and I'll show you some of the pieces I'll be using, and you guys can try to guess in the comments on what the Kit Bash is going to be, and then it'll be announced the following Wednesday. So it's gonna be Blood Angels related, semi-related to this guy. So it's gonna be another kit bash. It's gonna be a couple weeks of kit bashing. May do some live, may do some recorded, may do some off camera. I'm not sure. But actually, I have a few kit bashes in mind that are related to this little project here that I'm going to do. I will tell you this: they're not resin conversions. It's not a conversion from resin to plastic. That was a collaboration with John. He's in the chat right now. I'll link his channel in the description, which is a fantastic channel, by the way. But this one, it's going to be related to this, but they're going to be, actually, one of them is, they were resin. So yeah, it is going to be a resin to plastic conversion. One of them is, and then one's not. So that is going to be what is going to be continuing on Kit Bash Wednesday. Warhammer. Kit Bash Warhammer Wednesday? I don't know. I haven't come up with a name yet. So like I said, the Tech Marine's done. He's going to get painted in the future, just not the immediate future. So, when are you going to share stories about the North Carolina? Okay, the stories about the North Carolina are going to be shared during the builds. During the builds, as I get to say, we'll just say here, for example, I'm building this bow part of the thing. So I'm going to have some stories that I'm going to go through as I'm putting together some of the bow. I'm going to talk about, hey, this happened here. There was this guy, he was talking about, this, and, hey, some investigators were there, and they got some activity there. And then overall stuff that happened inside the ship we'll cover when we get to that outside part. Like, if it happened inside the island, then I'll talk about all the stuff that happened in the island. And I'll talk about the stuff that happened in the turrets. And then the stuff that happened below deck, like sick bay, the storerooms, things like that. I'll talk about it as I do some work on the hull and things like that. But I'm not trying to drag this out. There's a lot of prep work that goes into building one of these, and me missing a whole week of stuff last week due to issues. I haven't gotten anything done. I'm trying to get caught up. I'm trying to get back on track here. But it's getting there. I should have tool reviews for next week and things like that. But we're going to be doing some cool stories on this, that's for sure. So next week will be the conversion or the combining all of the instructions, so I can find out what's photo etch and what's not photo etch, and also marking out in the North Carolina book, where certain photo etch pieces go, like the railing and things like that. Another topic on the railing, and real quick, and then I'm going to end this. If you notice the railing here, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this. I'm going to try to zoom in and get you guys to see it. you see here, there's droop in this railing right there. I don't know if you can see it, but the railing, it's a rope railing. It's not a solid railing, so it has a little bit of droop in it. And I'm honestly thinking of trying to replicate that. Like there is an example of it right there. There's a nice sag in the railing, and none of the photo ets show that. And I'm going to attempt to show that. There's also some certain sections of the railing that are broken. Like this section right here is broken, and I plan on trying to replicate that also. So, and things like that. And also the rigging. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this rigging. I'm going to have to zoom out. Hold on, guys. Well, bad camera work today. But there's a whole bunch of rigging up here. Maybe do some of that. Talk about that. They make some cool rigging line that's kind of stretchy. And it glues real easy, real simple. So, but this is mainly going to be my reference book of where I build and put things, along with the instructions and things like that. So, well, I'm going to wrap this stream up, guys. It's about 52 minutes, almost an hour. Be sure, like, subscribe to the channel. Leave me comments for next week's Feedback Friday. You guys can visit my Patreon page. I, most of the time, put up tool review videos. I did not get one up this week, and I apologize for that. Thank you to my Patreons that are understanding, and that there will be videos next week. I'm really hoping so. I'm working on it really, really fast. And then you can visit me on Instagram at Crazy Gamer Models. You can email me at crazygamermodels@gmail.com. And you can visit my Facebook page, Crazy Gamer Models. That's going to do it for this live stream. Thank you guys so much for watching, and you guys have a fantastic day.